The magnificent Saturn V-REX spaceship drifts heavily and peacefully along the glowing edge of a colossal ice-blue comet. The tiny engineer Grog sits comfortably in the pilot seat, his tiny yellow fingers rhythmically tapping against the steering wheel in a silent cosmic beat. Suddenly, a brilliant streak of neon blue light, the sleek neon dart sports ship, screams past the windshield, its powerful magnetic wake causing the massive Saturn ship to rock violently. The white daisy on Grog's bronze helmet jerks forward aggressively as the cockpit vibrates from the sudden shockwave. Deal. The sports ship loops back around, circling the heavy Saturn V-REX with mocking agility like a shark taunting a whale. The alien pilot named Flash slides open his cockpit canopy, leaning out with a look of. Flash points a mocking finger at the bulky Saturn V-REX and clutches his stomach, shaking with silent. He aggressively pats his own high-tech dashboard and points toward the dangerous, ice-clogged heart of the comet tail. Grog's printed eyes narrow with a sudden surge of pride. He will not let his beloved engineering masterpiece be insulted. Grog stands up and slams his yellow palm onto the wheel, flashing a sharp, determined thumbs up to accept the deadly challenge. Rexy lets out a silent, prehistoric roar, opening his massive tan jaws. The two ships move to a makeshift starting line located between two gargantuan, jagged blocks of floating space ice. The Titan leans out of the side window, raising a brilliant trans-neon green brick high into the air to act as the race official. Engines erupt into life as the orange-purple fire of the Saturn ship and the neon blue flames of the Dart illuminate the frozen void. The Titan drops the green brick, and it falls slowly through the vacuum, signaling the absolute start of the race. The neon Dart vanishes instantly, becoming nothing more than a tiny, glowing blue dot in a single frame of high-speed acceleration. The Saturn V-REX lurches forward with a heavy metallic groan, struggling to find its momentum against the gravity of the comet. From Grog's perspective, the sports ship is already miles away, weaving effortlessly through the dark, icy expanse. Flash glances into his rear-view mirror and smirks with absolute contempt, casually picking his nose while he pulls further ahead. The race enters the comet tail, an incredibly dense and treacherous maze of sharp, transparent ice boulders. The small, wedge-shaped neon Dart maneuvers flawlessly, slipping through narrow gaps like a silver needle through silk. In contrast, the Saturn V-REX is far too wide, and a massive ice wall suddenly looms directly in their path. Grog breaks into a cold plastic sweat as he realizes the ship is moving too fast to stop before a catastrophic impact. A look of pure, calculated genius flashes in his eyes as he reaches for the heavy-duty side thruster levers. Just inches from the ice, Grog violently jerks the steering wheel and slams the emergency red brake lever down. The main thrusters cut out as the right side engines explode with brilliant orange fire, forcing the ship into a violent slide. The colossal Saturn V-REX begins to drift sideways at 90 degrees, skidding across the ice-blue void with impossible grace. The ship's entire right hull scrapes along the massive ice boulder, creating a breathtaking shower of white-hot friction sparks. The Titan is forced to use his copper hands to grip the ceiling tightly, anchoring himself against the intense centrifugal force. Rexy is pinned against the side window, his printed eyes spinning into spirals as the ship drifts through the turn. The Saturn V-REX exits the drift perfectly, and Grog slams the throttle forward to maintain his newfound momentum. By drifting around the ice instead of weaving through it, Grog maintains a much higher angular velocity than his opponent. The ship continues to slide and weave with masterful precision, rapidly closing the gap between them and the sports ship. Flash looks into his mirror again and his arrogant expression instantly collapses into one of pure, wide-eyed terror. The massive, bulky Saturn V-REX is now looming directly behind him like a hungry, prehistoric predator. Grog smirks with ultimate satisfaction, waving a casual yellow hand at the panicked alien through the windshield. Flash slams his fist onto his dashboard in a rage, absolutely refusing to lose to a ship he considers a flying garbage truck. He opens a secret compartment marked with a skull and crossbones and slams his palm onto a glowing red button. A hidden hatch at the rear of the neon dart opens, releasing a cloud of jagged gray space spikes into the air. Thousands of sharp plastic thorns rain down across the racing path, creating a deadly obstacle for anyone following behind. Grog gasps in horror as a cloud of sharp spikes flies directly toward the Saturn V-REX vulnerable windshield. The spikes clatter and bang against the hull, leaving deep scratches in the beautiful red and white paint of the ship. The Saturn V-REX runs over the spike field, and the engines begin to sputter as the thrust is violently disrupted. The ship wobbles out of control, nearly smashing into a jagged ice wall as gray smoke begins to leak from the rear. Flash pulls away once again, standing up in his seat to turn around and mockingly slap his own rear at the struggling Grog. Inside the cockpit, Grog wipes the sweat from his forehead while fighting to keep the damaged ship steady. Rexy shakes off his dizziness and stands up, witnessing the alien's disrespectful gesture through the window. The dinosaur's prehistoric blood begins to boil as his ultimate pride is deeply and personally insulted. He looks around the cockpit for a way to strike back, and his eyes lock onto a massive red lever in the corner of the ship. The lever is marked with a garbage symbol designed to release the massive trash hatch located under the ship's belly. The Saturn V-REX uses its remaining power to climb up the side of a curved ice ramp, gaining massive altitude. The ship leaps into the air, flying directly above the neon dart, which is racing along the surface below. Flash looks up in confusion as the massive shadow of the Saturn ship completely blocks out the light of the stars. Inside the cockpit, Rexy turns his back toward the red lever. The T-Rex swings his heavy tail with absolute crushing force, slamming the lever all the way down to the floor. The massive hatch under the ship's belly swings wide open, revealing a mountain of accumulated space junk. Tons of waste, including empty pizza boxes, broken wrenches, and spent fuel canisters, pour out like a violent waterfall. The entire avalanche of garbage falls directly onto the roof and windshield of the unsuspecting neon dart. Flash screams in horror as a plastic pizza box slaps perfectly onto his windshield, completely blinding his vision. A heavy gray wheel falls into the exhaust pipe of the sports ship, causing the engine to cough out a thick cloud of black smoke. The neon dart completely loses its grip on the cosmic highway, spinning out of control like a broken top daddy. Flash is tossed around inside his cockpit, his eyes spinning as the world becomes a blur of neon blue and space junk. The sports ship flies off the track and crashes violently into a massive, soft snowdrift at the edge of the comet tail. The ship is buried nose first deep in the ice, leaving only its rear thrusters sticking out pathetically into the air. The Saturn V-REX lands safely back on the racing line, its engines roaring as it surges ahead of the defeated rival. Grog looks back at his cheating opponent, buried in the snow, and shakes with silent, joyful laughter. Rexy waddles over and delivers a massive high five to Grog with his tiny hand, celebrating their ultimate victory. The Titan wipes a drop of fake sweat from his copper forehead and lets out a long, mechanical sigh of relief. The Saturn V-REX glides across the finish line at the edge of the comet tail with ultimate, undisputed dignity. The white daisy on Grog's helmet blooms proudly in the starlight, as he settles back into a steady, victorious cruise. Rexy leans his head out of the window, waving an empty pizza box at the alien pilot who is now crawling out of the snow. Flash stands on the ice with a plastic banana peel on his head, shaking his fist in absolute powerless rage. Grog pushes the throttle forward, and the Saturn V-REX disappears into the peaceful, silent expanse of deep space. The ice-blue streaks of the comet tail fade into the distance as the cockpit is filled with the warmth of shared laughter. The camera pulls back into the vast universe, leaving the tiny ship as a small glowing light against the galaxy. Scattered pieces of pizza boxes and gray spikes float weightlessly in the wake of the great race. The pieces slowly drift together in the zero-gravity void, clattering and clicking into a familiar shape. The plastic fragments assemble into a block of text marking the official end of episode 87. The text flashes with ice blue and neon light before crumbling into fine cosmic dust that drifts into the dark. The screen slowly fades to black, leaving only a sense of profound silence in the infinite vacuum. The cosmic journey continues as the trio prepares for whatever impossible challenge lies hidden in the stars. A solid, empty blackness fills the screen, wiping away all traces of the comet and the trash. A single frame of a legless black ant appears on a blank background, wearing a tiny racing helmet. Zippy holds a red sign, lets out a high-pitched squeak, and vanishes into the darkness forever.